Hello, audience. My name is Dawson. His name is Justin.
Hello.
And today we want to welcome you guys back to episode 4 of Throwback Thursdays. This is the show where we watch a movie from 2005 and back and we review it. So, yeah, this week is Justin's week to choose the movies. So, Justin, what is our throwback for this week?
This movie came out in 2005, so it's right on the cusp of being throwback for our standards or for our parameters. And it's a movie I know you've watched. It's a movie that we've actually watched together, but I fell asleep or we both fell asleep or something like that. It was like a couple months ago, I think it was. And the movie we're watching this week is the Alien movie, War of the Worlds.
Bah. Dude, Steven Spielberg. Okay, yeah, I can fuck with this.
I kind of wanted to stick with Aliens to watch Signs last week, so I was like, you know what, Aliens, sure.
Now, I don't want to like go too much into it before we actually do our review, but I do want to say, though I did enjoy what I saw for the most part, we only probably watched it for maybe 15 minutes.
It feels like it was a lot longer than that, but
I don't
probably.
know. I mean,
I
I
just know it
believe
was
like
like late at night, and I was probably falling asleep anyways.
yeah, but I haven't heard I've heard this isn't Steven Spielberg's best work, but
Hmm.
I'm still excited to see it because I do like Orson Welles and the whole. I've listened to the War of the Worlds radio broadcast probably a dozen times, so I'm looking forward to seeing this movie.
So we'll be back real quick in a flash. And we're back. So we just got done watching War of the Worlds, and this is a little synopsis of it, courtesy of IMDb. As Earth is invaded by alien tripod fighting machines, one family fights for survival. This movie stars, of course, Tom Cruise and Dakota Fanning and Justin Chatwin. That's basically three main people of the movie, being Ray, Rachel, and Robbie.
Triple R.
Triple R. So, this movie, it's pretty well known by now. It's been 11 years, but it's pretty well known still for, and at least for sci-fi people. And of course, it's a movie version of the radio broadcast from. Do you know what year that was from? Since you listened to it 12 times.
1935,
Hmm.
1938, something of that nature.
Old as hell. Okay. See, I was thinking like 50s, but okay.
No, no.
Yeah, I don't know when things take place.
Orson Welles did not. No, that right there, that Orson Welles broadcast, it fucking. I mean, it shook the world. People actually thought aliens were attacking.
Hmm.
I mean, it was a real. A lot of stuff happened that day. He got into a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Wasn't he? Isn't War of the Worlds initially like a book that he was
It's a
like?
book.
Yeah.
It's a book, but it was he made an entire radio show. Like it was a radio show.
Hmm.
That's what Orson Welles' whole thing. He made this whole radio show. He made it sound, for the time it sounded very realistic. The noises, they had like on-site reporters and different broadcasts within this whole entire thing. But people actually thought that they were listening to a real broadcast.
Yeah.
It was
Was it
really
on
fucked
like?
up.
Do you know like exactly like around what time of year it was? Cause was it like an April Fool's thing? Did they even have April
Oh, no,
Fool's in
no,
the
no, no.
1930s?
No, I don't know if it had approvals. No, it was just supposed to be because it started. It kind of started, and it said like this is like this is like a radio broadcast or something like that. I don't know if they actually said it was a soap or anything,
Hmm.
or if they just went in and just started doing the broadcast. That's not clear to me, at least from my recollection of listening to it. Um, but I recommend, and if anybody out there is interested in War of the Worlds or Orson Welles in general, just go listen to the broadcast. It's not that long, and it's definitely worth a listen.
Hmm.
It's really crazy. But what'd you think of the movie directed by Steven Spielberg?
I'm glad I finally watched it
Cat,
all.
shush.
Um, there's a few things that like I'm not 100% clear on per se.
Oh my God,
That
yeah,
they
me and you both.
There's a few things that they never touch on. Like one, how did nobody ever find these machines? Because people dig underground all the time looking for like gas and stuff. So how did
I
nobody ever
apologize if
find?
anybody can hear my cat.
Yeah.
She's meowing. Stop it. Shh.
But how did people never find these machines?
See, I don't know. I mean, they were just like right underneath the streetway. I mean, I'm sure they were pretty deep, but you'd have to assume that somebody would find one of these.
Yeah.
At least one of them in, however long. Like what's his name? Tim Robbins' character. He's the basement guy. He said that they must have been here for millions of years. They must have planted these before man.
Yeah.
And it's like, you'd have to think that if his calculations are any what correct, one person would have found one of these during some of that time.
You'd think.
Because I mean, there were how many, Justin? Do you think were
thousands?
I mean,
or at least
person,
hundreds.
especially in fucking New York City. That thing has been dug to all hell.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a little bit of an error. But a thing I want to clear up for everybody that's listening to this. Me and Justin haven't read the book, so we don't really know if the book explains more of it, and we kind of need to read the book to know it. I don't know if Tom Cruise and Dakota Fanning's character Ray and Rachel are actually in the book. Or if Steven Spielberg took the inspiration from the book and wrote a completely different screenplay. That is not clear to us.
Yeah.
So maybe there's answers in the book, but we're just talking purely movie. If we haven't seen the book, if we haven't read the book, the movie should explain it to us, and the movie didn't explain that thing to us clearly enough.
Yeah. And another thing that I'm not 100% clear on, that if these characters are in the book, one thing I would like to know is, how exactly did Robbie survive? Because he basically ran right into an explosion.
Yeah, they never explained it. Okay, so now that usually we kind of take turns on what we think about the movie, but I think the discussion is even better.
Yeah.
The final 20 minutes completely lost me.
Yeah.
I was completely out of it. I was so confused. They just dropped 30 things at once and expected you to catch them all, which I was not a fan of. Dakota Fanning's character, though I liked Rachel. I think she's a cool character. She screamed too damn much. There was way too much screaming, and then when all of a sudden they were like, they feed off of us, and they're taking our blood, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just randomly started dying.
They couldn't handle the Earth's organisms.
Yeah, they drank too much blood. They breathed our air. Whatever
it's the
hell they did,
mate.
And they just started dying. It's not really made clear, exactly like he said how. What's the character's name?
Robbie.
Robbie got out of this whole thing. I mean, he ran not right into the explosion, but it exploded right after Tom Cruise got back to Dakota Fanning's character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just the entire hillside went up into flames. So how he escaped or what happened, unclear. He just shows up at the end.
Theory time. Tom Cruise died, and this is all playing on in his head while he's dying. That's why he had a perfect happy ending with his son and his ex-wife and his daughter all having a nice reunion. He's dead.
So that's pretty much it for this video, guys.
We've cracked the codes. Goodbye.
Yeah, I don't think that he died. Maybe he did. Maybe there's I don't know. I mean, that's not
like when he gets sucked up into the machine or into the tripod, and he just dies there.
Another thing, really dumb. So another thing that just is not explained. Okay, I also want to make it clear that we're not trying to shit on the movie. I think we can both agree we enjoyed most of it, besides the plot holes. They were shooting torpedoes at them and stuff, and all it took was 2 grenades for Tom Cruise to take it out.
I mean, one thing I can say about that is the torpedoes were blocked by a shield, but the shield was on the outside. The grenades were sucked up into it when he was.
At the end, they fucking took out one of them. Maybe the shields were down. Maybe, but I don't know. I found that hard to believe that two of them, took out the entire ship
Yeah.
or the entire tripod, whatever the fuck they call them, tripods.
Yeah.
I find it very hard to believe that was the case, and I don't know if I missed it. I don't know if I looked away for 2 seconds, but when the fuck did Tom Cruise like make the decision to go up there, and then everybody else like knew what was happening? Like, did he like announce it, or did he what? Well, how do they know to pull him out? Like, I don't like. I think it was every man, for himself. Why would you pull him? I don't. That whole thing, I don't understand. The end completely is a giant plot hole in itself.
Yeah.
There's just so many plot holes in the end. That's kind of like, oh, okay. And then he like, I totally get why he killed Tim Robbins' character, the basement dude,
Mm-hmm.
because he was just not fucking stopping. He was like, well, like he was gonna shoot the thing, and then he got an axe off the wall, and apparently the axe worked, which who knew? The axe would cut a robot alien head off that has some type of goo in it, and then he starts digging, like he's gonna dig New York City. Like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, that character, that whole part with Tom Robbins' character, though it built up a bigger connection between Ray and Rachel, as like they kind of we're alone in this now. That was nice, but Tom Robbins' character was just so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
He just didn't need to be there. They could have just went in the basement by themselves. Like, if you completely erase this character from that scene, nothing would be different.
Mm-hmm.
The outcome would be the exact same.
It would remove a little bit of insanity, but that's fine.
Yeah, and then Tom Cruise killing him.
Yeah.
While his daughter sings a lullaby. But I can see now, I mentioned in the beginning, I can see why people say this is not one of Spielberg's best movies,
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of plot holes. I don't know if that's just how the book is, and it's a pretty accurate, not retelling, but pretty accurate, what's the word I'm looking for? Not representation, but a pretty accurate representation of the book. I don't know if he just took the idea and wrote a whole new screenplay. I don't know if he wrote it. Maybe someone else wrote it. He directed it. I'm not really sure what happened, but I can totally see why, this is not one of his best, because it is full of a lot of plot holes. Though I do want to say, my two favorite things from this entire movie, my favorite thing, my number one favorite thing from this entire movie is the noise they make.
Brown.
Yeah, and then there's the weird music, brown, brown, brown. Like, it's just weird music. I fucking loved it. Every time it happened, I got chills, and I was like, this is fucking amazing. I just want to listen to the soundtrack all the time, just of that noise. My second favorite thing, for 2005, the special effects were pretty fucking damn good.
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed. I mean, there's a lot of movies from 2005 that are pretty good. I mean, when it comes to even James Cameron with Titanic in 1997, the boat, I mean, it was really realistic. But with all the CGI in this movie, I was damn impressed.
Yeah.
It looked pretty good. There were a few shoddy moments, but there were a lot of good ones. I did like.
I mean,
that.
I'm sure, like, nowadays you can find movies that's full of CGI that have shoddy moments. So you can't really hold it back or hold it against it, especially for it being 2005.
Yeah, and even Avatar, which came out in 2008, 12. I don't know when it exactly came out, but even Avatar has 2009 has a few shoddy moments in it. It's not like full, even though James Cameron also directed that, it's a full CGI movie, and there are some parts in that are kind of like, eh. I'm not a fan of Avatar because I've seen it so many times that it annoys the hell out of me. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Same.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts?
None exactly, but it's time for ratings.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna go first, as per usual. I think this movie deserves a 6 because there was a lot of plot holes, but it still was a pretty good ride for 99% of it, I would say at least. It's just
Yeah.
those here or there moments that just kind of like tore it down and broke it a little bit.
Yeah, and there's a lot of plot hole moments in this movie that if they completely, because this is a pretty long runtime. It's almost 2 hours.
Hmm.
So for a sci-fi movie like that, hour and 45 minutes or something of that nature, 56 minutes actually, an hour and 56 minutes. I mean, there's a lot of scenes in this movie that could have been cut and would have saved a few plot holes.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to give it a 6 also.
Cool, cool.
So we're finally in agreement on something. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
So we'd like to thank y'all for watching. Subscribe, stick around for Animation Saturday, which is a few days away. It is another one of my choices. I promise you, I'm going to pick a movie that at least I think might be good. So we'll see y'all then.
Bye.